Other coastal towns suffered similar fates, particularly in southern Louisiana.
Probably 80% of the houses have trees in them or laid in the yards, or it's bad.
Search and rescue was the #1 priority in the aftermath of the storm.
We pulled some people out and downed them.
Fortunately, evacuation efforts in the days before Rita hit were very successful, and compared to the days after Katrina, relatively few people needed rescue. Another top priority in the first days after Rita was making sure hurricane victims had necessary supplies, like food, water, and ice.
I was just coming up Highway 112 and happened to see y'all over here, and I'm sure blessed to have y'all here. I needed some ice.
In the days and months ahead, there will be much discussion over what was done right and wrong in the wake of this season's hurricanes. And the focus will certainly be on the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, which in terms of loss of infrastructure was the costliest natural disaster in U.S. history. But even as those discussions take place, hundreds of thousands of Americans will be picking up the pieces of their lives, and in many cases trying to sort out uncertain futures. Among them are thousands of military men and women who also call the Gulf Coast home. Lieutenant Commander Scott Sanders is one. He was deployed in Iraq when Katrina made landfall. One day later, he was back home in Gulfport, Mississippi, and coordinating Navy construction crews known as Seabees, who were heavily involved with recovery efforts. He wasn't able to see his home in nearby Long Beach for several days.
Yeah, you couldn't get in on that end because the rubble was piled too high. It took them a couple days to get some dozers in and push through the rubble. I believe most everybody evacuated. Talking to a few of my neighbors, it seems like they all got out of here. At least we don't know of anybody that stayed. So some of that stuff in there is ours. Yeah, we've definitely found stuff that was certainly ours, way up there, 4 or 5 houses up. So probably have to come back with some friends at some point and do a more extensive search, see if there's anything we can find. There's been a lot of stories about looters and people picking through, and no telling what they picked up or what's been looted, but it's just material stuff. They probably needed it worse than we did, so. Oh. The wife might be excited about this. That was our wedding set. China. My family lived in Wichita Falls in 1979 when the large F5 tornado flattened our home. So this is the second time I've had a concrete slab for a residence. I was 10 at the time. You know, tornadoes typically, the funnel on the ground is typically a lot thinner. It might maybe a mile wide for the large ones, and will rip a strip through a city or through the land that's a mile long or a mile wide and maybe 10 miles long. The unique thing about this particular hurricane, as large as it was, is that this strip of carnage like this, you know, exists for 150 miles. You know, from Alabama to New Orleans, a quarter mile in, you see this kind of stuff, and that's huge devastation. Every time I come down, I'm just amazed at the power of the storm. Unbelievable.
The number of lives lost to Hurricanes Katrina and Rita won't be known for months. It will take longer to add up property damage to homes and businesses. But for those who lived through the hurricanes and the service members helping them, the effects can't be told by numbers alone.
It means a lot to have the country come together like this and support us. And, you know, basically keep the country rolling.
We got ice and water, and when we leave out here, you can only make it right.
It's nice to for the nation to see that we are always ready to do our job.
When you see something bad happen, it's nice to actually be able to do something about it to help out, rather than just donate a few bucks here or there.
National Guard, it's time to go. Probably the most rewarding thing I've ever done.
So, I mean, there were long, exhausting days, but the next day we showed up in the morning to do it all over again.
We practice and we train to go to war, but helping humanitarian issues, that really hits home.
The 2005 hurricane season continues until the end of November. For now, hopes remain high that the worst is past, and the difficult task of rebuilding can begin in earnest. The one thing that is certain is that it will take years to recover from the devastation Katrina and Rita left behind. I'm Air Force Sergeant Daniela Marcus. This has been Recon.